When you're speeding down the road of life and you come to an intersection, which way do you go? Welcome to Plot Twist Media's Crossroad.
Which way do you go? Do you take the easy road, or do you take the road less traveled like today's guest? Welcome to Plot Twist Media's Crossroad, the home cast where the team from Plot Twist Media interviews people who are making changes in the world. I'm Phillip Deems.
And I'm Kevin O'Neill. Welcome to the show, Andrae Bailey. Welcome to Plot Twist Media's Crossroad.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Andrae, what's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good, you know. I'm feeling good. It's
you're
a Friday
a busy
night.
guy. It's hard to get you on the show.
Well,
you know?
We're lucky to have you on a
That's
show.
actually what's happening.
Well, we pinned you in. I locked you in the room, and I said, Andrae, you're being a part of the show, so you don't have a choice at this point.
Locked doors.
Actually, Angela is literally locked the door, so
That's
good,
right.
Good luck getting out.
I'm excited to be here.
Good luck getting out.
Good to have you.
Hey, man, this show is all about people that are making change. One thing that's really important to us is to have discussions with people in our community that are doing things that are really unique, and you are like the master of social change.
Like He-Man, like the masters of the universe?
I think you called it Elon Musk, right? The Elon Musk of social change, right?
Well,
yeah.
You were asking me, Andrae, which is a common question, like, what the F do you do? What is this change everything?
It's true. I've known Andrae for a couple years now, and Andrae comes in and does this great pitch. I'll let you tell everybody about it. But that's when I first met you, and you were in charge of the Coalition for Homelessness, right?
Yeah, the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness. I was the CEO for about 4 years, and during that time period, we brought a lot of leaders together and helped a lot of folks get off the streets for the first time. And so that was a pretty big experiment on this change everything model, and now I do it both here and around the country with leaders, trying to shake things up and make change and do it from a standpoint that I feel like it keeps the integrity of each individual that you're trying to help.
And you have to shake things up to do that.
Was that too Republican? Did I go too Republican too quick?
Very right wing,
okay.
Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. But that's okay.
I'm not very
It was fine till you said it, you were Republican. I think
exactly.
that's going to change
What's
everything.
interesting is, like, you can't win nowadays, like, Republican or Democrat.
No.
So, I thought it was kind of like a coward move to be like, everyone hates Trump, so now I'm not going to say I'm a Republican. But so now I just say I'm a Republican, like, to start every
just
conversation.
Get it out of the way.
Like, I'm single and I'll meet like a really hot girl at a bar and I'll be like, hi, Andrae Bailey, Republican. And just it's just like a shock factor.
Andrae Republican.
I'm Andrae
Bailey.
Republican Bailey.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I've been a Republican my whole life, so I've decided to stick with it. But that's kind of interesting. Is I work on social issues, change everything, homelessness, poverty, hunger. I work with leaders on the environment and
Andrae,
the arts.
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
But in fact, it kind of makes perfect sense, because to me, I think what drew me into that kind of belief system, which, by the way, I don't give a shit about Republican or Democrat.
I don't
Politics is all a bunch of bullshit.
It's all crap.
But the idea, what drew me in, to want to work on issues like this, was just this idea that all of us are unique and we have a unique place in this world, and that happiness can only really be found when you find a pathway where you're not just amassing money, amassing success, but where you're finding a way to impact other people. And I think, religion and faith, although I'm a horrible religious person and I can't believe that any of my pastoral friends even talk to me, because I drink and like chicks too much, but I don't attend church on a regular basis. But I would tell you, the idea that all of us have a place in the world that really is only what it should be when we're making a difference in other people.
Right.
That's probably the origin of change everything, and kind of the underlying idea is, if you can change yourself, you can change anything on the outside.
That's wonderful.
What was it that caused you to come to that realization?
Well, I think, again, I started out, I grew up in Osceola County. Mayor Buddy Dyer, who's a friend of mine, we both went to Osceola High School, albeit about 20 years apart. But, I grew up in a working class family. My family, had a kind of typical bag of good times and bad times and some challenges that we faced. But I think I just got to this place, and I think a lot of folks, I'm seeing a lot more folks get to this place where you have so much, but then there's just this feeling that there's got to be more.
Oh yeah.
And I hit that place somewhere around 18 years old where I was like, you know what, I lived life pretty fast even as a young guy, and I said there's got to be more to life, and if there's not, I'm not sure that this life is what I want it to be, all that it should be. So I kind of went down this journey, around 18, 19 years old, that was one part religion, one part, this messianic complex.
Right.
And out of it came just this belief that has stood with me through good times and bad times, that my only real value in this world, beyond being a father and a friend, in a quality Trump voter. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just going to keep throwing Trump
keep it
in
going.
just
For
random ass reasons. But
for no reason at all.
No reason at all. Just every 3 minutes drop Trump.
Like you have Tourette's.
That's all that matters.
Trump. But no, I just got to this place where I was like, you know what? This is what I got to do. I can have success. I'm good with people. I can make money. And those are things you should do. And I mean, we live in the richest country that's ever existed in the history of the world.
That's right.
We don't have to choose between success and significance. We can have both. So just at a younger age, it just kind of hit me that if I was really going to be happy, I got to find a way to make a difference in my community and in my country, and have fun while doing it.
One of the things I remember you telling me about was you led a team of many people, I'll let you tell the story, through the city. What were you were notating, you were making reference to all the people that were homeless, all the homeless individuals. You were doing like a census on homelessness, right? Tell me about that. That one fascinated me when you were talking about it.
Well, so many times, we talk about like, oh, we're going to go and help people in poverty, or we're going to make an impact on homelessness. And it's also like distant. It's like, when we say, so these people need help and we're going to give them something to change their lives. It's like write a check. It's I'm going to empower someone else to make a difference. And so I thought, when I had the opportunity to lead a lot of really, substantial people, CEOs, we had a collaborative of over 1,000 people and probably 100 of our top leaders, including the mayors and CEOs and chief judge and all these folks. I thought, one of the things that always affected me the most was not allowing myself to BS this kind of work.
Love it.
Like, get out there on the streets. What's funny is today I was going to an award ceremony for a buddy of mine, Tony Jenkins, who won CEO of the Year.
I saw that. That's great.
Yep. But I stopped at the gas station right there by the Hilton on I-Drive, and this guy walks up. He's walking around the gas station. I'm pumping gas, and this guy walks up and says, I'm homeless, a younger guy.
Yeah.
And, will you help me? Give me $5. And he pulls out his VA card. He's a veteran.
Oh, wow.
And so I didn't have any cash on me, and I was like, I don't normally give cash to folks. It was just not my thing. But I said, hey, let's talk. And I found out his name, and I took a photo of his VA card.
Oh, wow.
And I took a photo of him, and I gave him my phone number, and I said, hey, listen, call me. I got to go to this award ceremony. I don't have any cash, but if you can meet me at my office later today or maybe tomorrow, then I'll connect you with the VA, and we'll figure out how to get you off the streets, because he's a veteran. And as long as he doesn't have a dishonorable discharge, and even if he does have a dishonorable discharge, there's benefits for him. So I tell you all that just to say that if you're someone who in any way says, I'm involved in a cause, and then you're a freaking phony who wouldn't answer a question for a homeless person or try to help them, or you're someone who you're so passionate about poor people, but yet you do nothing tangible to help other folks in need. I'm really not trying to put anyone else down right now, as much as I'm saying, for me, when I led that initiative, it was like, if we can get top leaders to really connect with the people on the streets, that was like half the battle. Because for me, when I got hands-on and experienced what it was like to be in the shoes of someone who's homeless, then it made sense to me. So that was a big part, Phillip, of what we were doing back in 2014, 15, and 16, and we were able to help quite a few people and shift really our policy on homelessness where at one time our policies here and our resources were based on this idea that folks on the street were just dirty, scary people who made all the wrong moves. And what we found, we did some research, went on the streets and found that most of the people you see homeless kind of in downtown or people who have been out there like a year, multiple years, they have mental illness.
Right.
Like this guy obviously had post-traumatic, I think his name was Kevin, he had post-traumatic stress disorder.
PTSD, yeah.
He had got out of the military 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And so, he's just messed up. And so a lot of our work on homelessness, a lot of my job was to connect these powerful people, the mayors, the CEOs of these companies, connect them with the humanity that was right in front of them that they wanted to see. And so it was my job to kind of guide them there. And if you did that, all the rest took care of itself.
You made it real for them.
Yeah, just connected them with, I don't think, it's funny, I don't think people are inherently bad.
Right.
I mean, I think people are inherently evil. but I don't think they're
bad. I would agree with that.
But not inherently bad. And what I mean by that is, if you listen to Dr. Jordan Peterson, who is the famous now almost mega star on this topic, the idea that all of us in our humanity can go down the most evil roads because humans are we're just evolved animals that, Lord of the Flies, if you leave us all on an island, we're killing each other with sticks until someone comes in a plane and we're embarrassed and then we go back to civilization.
Exactly.
But Jordan Peterson talks a lot about just how all of us have this ability to go down the wrong road when left to ourselves and our humanity. But we also have this ability in our consciousness and in the connection to our soul, the universe, our humanity, each other, whatever it is you believe. We have this ability to transcend that when we have, the key is, and this is what he says, and I'm paraphrasing, when you have the ability to kind of be honest about, look inside and be honest about yourself and admit that struggle exists. And I think a lot of the social justice warrior stuff you see in this world, I'd never thought about this until someone mentioned it to me, but so much of that's about you wanting to change the world by changing the evil in other people.
Right.
I am so passionate that I'm going to go tell everyone how bad they are. And
the
judge
irony.
them. But the what I found on my journey, and this journey is about 5 minutes ago. I still had to do this. It's every day. How do I look in the mirror every day and say, hey, what kind of a person am I? What kind of friend am I? What kind of a father am I? How true to what I'm saying to others am I? And if I can master myself this much, then that empowers me maybe to help other people connect with their truth. And then that's half the battle. Then we can come together and make good things happen for others.
And I think the one thing you mentioned that's really good and solid is that people disconnect when they get to a certain point. Government, at one point, the government said that if you're making $450,000, you're middle class.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that.
I need to get middle class.
I was about to say, I want to be middle class.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
But I remember thinking at the time, that's the way they really think. I mean, when you're up at a certain point in a certain pay scale, you don't really know what middle class is. And a perfect example here is, there's people that are in the streets still to this day that we're all working for to help end homelessness. My sister was involved in this for many years. And I just wonder what you're doing, how great it's going to be when they actually meet face to face with somebody that is dealing with, like you said, somebody that meets a guy that's a vet. We don't even know his story. He could be a war hero. He could have a Purple Heart. We don't even know. And why isn't this guy getting services?
Yeah, he didn't really know how to react when I was like, hold on, let's talk. Let's chat a second.
That's great.
When people say on homelessness, they ask me all the time, hey, Andre, should I give people money or not give them money? I don't give people money often. I don't give people money unless I know them, because that's just kind of my rule. But I would tell you, I don't care whether you give people money or not. By the way, it's illegal to give people money. Panhandling isn't good. So, just know that if you give people, $5 and a sandwich, you're not really changing their life. For the record. But I would say...
Well said.
Well, I would say this, though. When I walk by someone, I try, if time permits, because sometimes it doesn't, but I try to stop and say, what's your name? I had another guy was walking over to 55 West in downtown Orlando today, and I walked by a guy and, hey man, you got some money? I said no, and I made myself. I didn't want to. I was like, I don't want to fucking stop. But
right, exactly.
Language, but I was like, I dropped an F-bomb. See, Phillip's like, damn. Like,
we're leaving it in, by the way.
I'm like, damn. Phillip's like, damn. The guy's doing faith quotes and dropping F-bombs. I can see why no one likes him.
We have no FCC right here.
So,
we're all good.
There's no regulation.
So no, I'm walking to 55 West, and I'm in a hurry, and I walk by this guy, and in downtown, if you work, within a 2-3 block radius,
you see the
same people. I didn't recognize this guy.
Yeah.
So, hey man, you got $5? No, but what's your name? I just, he says, he was just got off a bus. I think he said he's from Charleston or something. And but again, someone with mental illness and disabilities.
Yeah.
So it is about, trying to. But when I am not connected, Phillip and Kevin, sorry, I remember that, but I have it written on my hand here. Yeah. Phillip and Kevin, when I am not right here internally, then I'm walking right by that guy.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And I'm still talking a great game though. I'll still come on this podcast and talk a great game, but I will tell you again, this is kind of back to the key is
you don't feel it right
for
there.
me. My crossroads was not external. My crossroad was internal.
Perfect.
And when that internal crossroad, and I think everyone reaches it a different way, but if you can cross that internal crossroad to the realization that your journey to change the outside, change everything, comes from your ability to change yourself and be honest with yourself.
Yep.
That's where it all begins, in my opinion.
I love it. And I think one of the things as we move on, because when I first met you, your homelessness initiatives were fantastic. I remember talking to you several times. But then I saw you evolve. It wasn't even evolution, move on. So you started Change Everything, correct?
Yep.
Tell us about why you started that.
So Change Everything is really who I am.
Right.
The initiative on homelessness was kind of like the greatest example in my own community of my Change Everything model. Now, I didn't used to call it Change Everything, but just this idea that I've always had. I've got a chart on the wall that people couldn't see, but this idea that if you really want to make a difference, that there are some things you have to do. Let's say you really want to solve homelessness, because let's be honest, like most of the time we're like, we're going to help the homeless. And what that means is we're going to go for 2 hours on Thanksgiving and give people plates of food, that we pull out of our Porsche.
That they'll never get again for the rest of the week.
And oh, come on, kids, we're
so you've seen my
people.
Porsche.
Yeah, exactly.
And we feel good for a week.
Absolutely. So much of the charity in this country, if we were honest about it, is so self-serving and self-indulgent.
We want to feel good. Absolutely.
Taxes.
We're the listen, we're the richest country in the history of the world. And the average American is 34 times wealthier than the average American was at the turn of the Industrial Revolution in 1864. So, like, all of us, we're rolling in it. But did you know that giving in America has stayed pretty consistent at about 2% of GDP.
Really?
Yeah, so we're richer than ever, but we don't give a damn. we piling it up.
We don't share.
No, I can't have enough big screens at the crib.
That's true.
At Dre crib, but we gotta have. I mean, I got a 65-inch plasma, but really I need that 90-inch. I saw a 90-inch at Best Buy.
Especially the curved screen.
It's pretty dope.
So
pretty dope.
So, and again, I know I sound real cynical here, but in the richest country in the history of the world, we're really not that generous. And on top of that, we don't own it. We want to be like the richest, most selfish people ever, but convinced that we're Mother Teresa. Like, look at me. I'm out feeding the homeless for 1 hour out of my life, and I'm selfieing it on Facebook.
It's so true.
And all your friends are like, "Oh,
you're such a good person.
Oh, Pam, you're such a good person.
Yeah.
I just want to be like you."
Bravo.
And it's like, come on. So, and by the way, I'm just telling you, I can be like this every single day as well if I'm not careful. All of us are.
Yeah.
But the idea of Change Everything was, and is, what if we really wanted to try to solve poverty or help people out of poverty? What if we really wanted to solve homelessness? What if we really wanted to tackle issues that mattered? And whatever that issue might be, not just what's important to me, but people who want to see the arts more prolific, people that believe in helping the environment, people that believe in education, whatever their cause is, what would it take if you really were going to try to solve it? Not the BS, not the selfies,
a little check,
not the little check, not the gala where we all get hammered and buy silent auction items and that bullshit.
70-inch TVs.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the gala. We're all so wonderful in our dresses and in our suits. Come on,
driving up in the limos.
Come on, drive up to the poverty gala in a damn limo. So, but. And by the way, it's all good. I mean, I do it all the time.
But we know you're Josh.
But what if we really wanted to make a change? What would that take? So this company, Change Everything, which is one part nonprofit, one part B Corp, benefit corporation, we try to cultivate the 5 aspects of climbing Mount Everest. What would it really take? And that's what we do, whether it's working with leaders, working with profound messaging, working with the most influential, powerful people in the world, or bringing together powerful leaders and messaging into movements. That's what this company is all about here and everywhere else, that we can put our footprint.
I think what says a lot about you is that you just told us a story that nobody knows but you. You walk down the street, you pass this
Me
guy.
and my limo?
The 10 people in the limo knew. The ones waving to at the champagne cocktail.
And your shoes are nice, by the way. Those are really nice
These
shoes.
are Vans.
Yeah,
these are purple Vans.
I love those. Yeah.
But nobody knew. And I think it's the humility to be able to sit and say that I did this, and
he's not a humble guy in any way.
No, I am not humble. I would say this.
But what he is saying is you dig in, and that's respectable.
Well, I tell you this: left to myself every day, I'm the biggest asshole alive. Like that's just a fact. No, I don't know if we all are, but I definitely am. So for me, it is this conscious attempt every day to be the person that I want to be.
Sure.
So when I if I'm, and especially if like you're someone who's known for like, you're this leader who helps everyone in need.
Right.
It's like you can skate, man. You can skate
totally.
and not being a genuine person and not being a person that really lives your values. So again, for me, the focus, I've been thinking about this a lot the last few months, is for me, the focus is internal. Right. How am I living and being the person that can change everything, but changing everything starts inside of me. I know it sounds so philosophical and like woo-hoo, but...
No, man, no, look.
But it comes from a good place.
It does, and again, you live it. So one of the things that I would question you on, because you can't take on everything by yourself, right? So when you start Change Everything, you work with people, correct?
So Change Everything is really, at its core, only successful by working with leaders.
There you go.
And, I crossed the bridge when I left the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness, where there I was a CEO. I had one task in front of me: work with leaders on homelessness and create messaging and, just throw it all on my back and run forward.
Yeah.
What I realized when I left there is my real challenge was empowering other leaders and training other leaders and inspiring other leaders, that I could be good doing one or two things that make a difference and impact people. But to be great, I would only be great through empowering others and helping them be all they could be and learn and grow. And so I got to become Yoda, man. We all want to be Luke Skywalker, especially like Return of the Jedi. He's got like that badass black ninja costume.
Looks good.
And then he busts out the green saber. Like you think he's still got that wussy ass blue lightsaber.
It shocked people, man.
Boom, green saber. You're like, what's up? So I want to be Luke in the damn black ninja green lightsaber looking outfit, like throwing a wink at Princess Leia in the damn jewelry she had on in front of Jabba the Hutt. Yeah. But ultimately, if I'm gonna be successful, I got to be Yoda, man. Yeah. I got to be that old-ass little green monster just inspiring and training others. Yeah. So that's what Change Everything now is all about.
Love it.
We go into communities, and we're not the star of the show. We help other leaders in communities across the country come together and impact homelessness. Here we have a group called The Collective. Right. We started it about a year ago. 400 nonprofit social change leaders. We kind of put it together and build curriculum and training and help them discover what
what's so fascinating about that, when I was talking to you one night, but what was so fascinating about it was you were like, look, these people are passionate, and they are passionate, and they're digging in, but what could happen is that they just lose this 501c3 because they're not making money, they're not, right? So you kind of coach them into how to keep that thing afloat and to move it forward, right?
Yeah, because when you really want to again go climb Mount Everest and solve an issue or really take on something that matters, this shit is hard, man.
It is,
like
man.
It is hard work, and it's thankless work, and it's tireless, and you're not going to make as much money, and it's very difficult. And then there are skill sets needed that you don't learn anywhere.
That's right.
Like, so I'm working with a guy named Dick Batchelor, volunteering with him on this initiative to try to help get more funding for kids in need. And you would think, hey, let's sign up for that, and we're going to all volunteer, and we're going to go knock on a couple doors.
There's a formula.
Everyone's going to love us, and
hoorah.
It's a fight, and you've got to learn how to work with the media, and you've got to learn how to work with influential folks in politics. You've got to learn how to, do public speaking. You got to learn how to fundraise.
True.
All these things you would never think about as skill sets you would need. And so I learned a lot of this along the way, and it was very hard, and most people, in my opinion, wind up quitting because it's just so difficult and so lonely. So the collective is the idea that, what if I could go back? I really formed the collective with this idea. What if I could go back to me 20 years ago and help me? What would I need? What would I want? Yeah. And that's where, mentoring leaders and equipping them and helping create community, that's where the collective comes from.
I love that.
Do you think people are waiting for somebody like you to come in and say,
the Messiah?
I'm real.
Totally.
Neo in the Matrix?
No.
I'm for real.
Elon and Yoda.
Elon and Yoda. Oh, yeah. Elon, Yoda, Musk?
There it is. Boom.
I think it's one thing to say things need to change.
Right.
Things need to happen. But it's another thing when somebody gets in and gets their hands dirty.
Yeah.
And you think they're waiting for a leader like that? Is that what it is?
I think we're all, I was talking to someone today about the opioid crisis.
Good times.
Well, if you're bored, go into Google, and if you're listening right now, go into Google and Google mortality rates for the United States. What's fascinating is I think there's like 15 key mortality rates, reasons why people die, that they measure. Every single one of them is actually going down slightly or is just leveled out. Sure. Other than addiction, mental illness, and opioid deaths, or addiction overdose deaths. What's fascinating, and it's skyrocketing.
Oh, no.
And by the way, for those of you that'd be like, oh, this is just a bunch of poor people in the hood who are getting, no. Mm-hmm. This is Black America, white America, Hispanics. Board, This is everyone. And for the first time in modern American history, the mortality rate, the average, has gone down.
That's right.
Because of the opioid epidemic. Yep. I bring that up because, to your point where you were saying, is everyone waiting for a leader like this? I think that here's what I would say. I'm not sure everyone's waiting for a leader, or I'm not sure most people even are conscious that there's something wrong. But I would tell you, what we are conscious of is that we're more unhappy as a society. True. We have more anxiety. We have more discontent than we really ever have. And the opioid crisis, in my opinion, has a lot to do with drugs that now are prolific in a way maybe they shouldn't be. But I also think it has to do with the fact that people are looking for something to fulfill them.
Yes, right. Absolutely.
Like we've all got the plasmas. We've got, and
it's not helping.
We've got so much. But there's something missing that's profound. And so in that regard, I do think all of us are looking for the hero. But what's interesting? They're looking for the hero in themselves. Yeah. They're looking for the hero in them that they know is there, and that without finding that, there's something missing. Yeah. And so I tried. If I got lucky, when I was younger, and that I tapped into that for a second, and that was addictive to me. Being able to make a difference, do something for someone else, and then at this point in my life, how can I help other people connect with that inner hero, which in my opinion is the only thing that'll ever give you happiness and fulfillment.
Very nice. Yeah. And I think a long time ago, I even was looking for that. And as we're all moving through our careers, becoming more successful in your careers, you're still spinning your wheels. You're still like, why am I not happy? Just got a brand new big house, got a bunch of stuff in it, and it took a stroke to actually have me find my purpose. Maybe that was a slap in the face, whatever it was.
Wake up call.
Yeah, but the bottom line is now I feel really, really good about where I'm headed. And it has nothing to do with my career. It has everything to do with me helping 1, 2, 3 people that I've talked to, 4 people that I've talked to about stroke. So I think that's a perfect way to position it. It really is. You could be the most successful person in the world and be very unfulfilled. And I think all of us are looking for that, and Crossroad is kind of that example. We talked to Harris Rosen just recently, and he talks about his Crossroad. We talked to Chrissy Goss. You probably know Chrissy Goss.
Oh yeah.
Hope Helps. So and Mark McEwen. So all of these individuals, it's a slap in the face at some point, but now they're feeling that fulfillment. They're feeling pretty enriched.
And it's very selfish. Giving back when you really find how addictive it is to make a difference in other people and feel like you're connected to that true purpose inside of you, it's selfish in a good way.
It is.
I mean, I am one of the happiest, most fulfilled people you awesome. Would ever meet. My life's full of challenges, but I would say I have found this balance, I think, between success and significance, and that balance drives me and fulfills me in a way that money by itself just couldn't. And some people I know say that, they're out there listening, they say you're talking about that because you couldn't be successful financially.
Right.
Well, that's all eye of the beholder, but I'd say in other parts of my life and other times of my life I've been very successful financially, and I haven't been as fulfilled as when I'm in the middle of working with other great people to do things that matter, not just to me, but to others.
And that's interesting. We are the most connected in society that we've ever been, and yet we're the most isolated in society because of our phones and our laptops. I teach at a university, and most of the kids have laptops, and they're sitting next to each other, texting and talking to each other. It's amazing. What is it? I'm just interested in, based on everything you've said, is it maternal or paternal? Where did this come from? What side of the family was this?
So my family is crazy. So it came from crazy. So my parents were from Michigan, and they're just kind of like, Michigan rednecks. There's this photo of them at their wedding. My dad has like hair down to here, down to middle of his back, and they were listening to Inavita Degata and smoking all kinds of stuff and drinking all kinds. And so I would say that my parents were wonderful, and they were also crazy. And I think the best part of my childhood was the opportunity, however it came about, to just figure life out on my own. Like there was a lot of time where it was just like, all right, here you are, you're 12 years old, and you're just out there doing your thing. I mean, I had a roof over my head, and there was food in the fridge, but mom and dad are out at work. They worked as servers in Touristville, Lake Buena Vista, back when it was a little bit smaller. So again, I think that, if I really wanted to, do the Crimea River like a lot of folks do, my childhood had a lot of challenges to it, but those challenges shaped me and helped motivate me become the person that I am today. Whoever, and by the way, the person I am today is one part the person you see that you can appreciate in this podcast, and one part an effing disaster most days. I think the best gift I could give to folks in a broadest sense is, hey, I've had a level of success, and I'm just as much of a damn disaster as all of you out there probably. And every day I just try to reconcile the math more to this side than the other.
But if you figured it all out, you wouldn't be driven.
Oh my gosh, I love people who have figured it all out. Like some of my good friends are like some of these folks. I'm like, gosh, I just want to be them for like one day. They're just so put together. I'm so not that, but I'm a lot of fun. So. Ask my ex-wife. I'm a great time. So.
Hence ex-wife.
Are we allowed to talk about ex-wives today? Is it
sure. Let's toss this around for Laura. What do you say?
I don't want to go there.
Should we do the game that we
Ixnay on the
first name and last name? And no.
We
okay. So let's play that game.
That's fun.
Well, I don't know if we should play because my first podcast. Here was, for those listening. Here was the bit or the the conversation we had. We were at a Solar Bear game.
It was a moment, yes.
We took a bunch of folks out to the Orlando Solar Bears hockey game, and there's probably like 20 of us. And somehow we got on this conversation of what if we did a game show where you tried to come up with the worst
names.
baby names ever, but they had to be a combination of two infamous people in history.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like O.J. Hitler. No,
yes.
it was like first and last. So it was like,
that's right. Yeah.
it was like Casey Weinstein.
So bad.
So
bad.
And it was great. I mean, we all did so well at this game.
We did.
I really left
We
there.
excelled.
I really left there feeling a little dirty, but yet
But
being
more fulfilled.
But more fulfilled.
Yeah.
It was just like helping the homeless
It was
in a weird way.
Totally the same thing.
And Angela and Phillip were just like
brilliant.
Oh no, they were so in it. Like they were like,
oh no,
yeah. They were so excited.
I think I cried laughing several times. Seriously, it was so bad.
What
it was
some
good.
of the there was.
I can't remember, man. I had a couple cocktails, so there you go. Yeah.
Well, you know, again, putting the two names together, O.J. Simpson's a good one because both of his O.J. and Simpson, you know, you can use those well.
Those. Yeah.
Obviously, you know, some of these other notorious, horrible people. But the idea was if you met someone and they said, "This is my baby," and here are the two names, what would be the worst names to ruin that baby's life? And
my favorite, you know, I like to read a little bit sometimes, and my favorite, there was this, what was it called? I forget, I'll think of it in a little while, but they were talking about some of the worst names and how these individuals were born to fail because they had horrible names, and one of them was Shatid.
Shatid?
Spelled exactly how you would think it is. Shithead.
Gotcha.
And I remember going, oh my gosh, how do you go through life with a name like Shatid? I mean, I don't care what you call your children, but that's a rough one. That's a really rough one.
And the parents don't want the kid to know till later in life, and then one day when he learns to read, he's going to understand what it means.
Well, actually, it's the teacher that has to say the name that, you know, the roll call that you go, did I say that right?
It's a brutal thing.
So some rough stuff.
It is amazing how stupid a lot of people are. Like just in general, you want to.
You think somebody would have picked up on that.
Because see, here it changed everything. You know, we love to take on issues like poverty and homelessness and all, but we thought about taking on stupidity, but it just seemed hopeless.
Because I fit into that. I fit into stupid some days. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I totally.
We all do.
We all do. But just why name your kid X, Y, Z? You know, just like what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. But I will.
Hold on, let me give you a true story.
Okay.
So my name is Andrae James Bailey.
Okay.
And my mother says Mother's Day this Sunday. Don't forget. I'm not sure when we're recording.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. It's
Mother's
close
Day is
enough.
coming up soon.
Yes.
Even if it's 327 days from now. Next year. Mother's Day just passed.
Yes.
And, you know, I just took my mom out to a wonderful meal. It was so good.
Had a great time.
She was very happy.
But my mother.
We played the baby game.
When it comes to names, my mother tells the story of how I was born, and you know, an hour later they're coming up with a name, my father and my mother, and they're like huge stoner, weed head, drunk, crazy people, and they're young.
My kind of people.
So you're actually lucky you came out alive on that.
Yeah, I am lucky. But my mom says that my dad wanted to name me, so I'm Andrae James Bailey. My dad wanted to name me Jesse James Bailey.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
That's a rock star name.
And
that and a Harley Davidson, and you'd be.
Were you mad?
Chick's magnet.
Well, my mom was like, you're not naming him after an outlaw. Like, it doesn't work. But I mean, if I was Jesse James Bailey, that'd be badass.
Like your born name.
But I'd probably be in prison.
You would.
I think I'd be in prison.
You'd have to be.
No, but I'd be the coolest guy in prison. Yeah. I'm just telling you.
Freakonomics was the book. Freakonomics. Read that book. Hilarious. There's some great moments in there. And they talk about the names. And they didn't judge one way or another. They just basically said, does it influence the outcome of this person's life? Well,
so
it kind of does.
Andre's an interesting name. So I'm named after Andrae. Andre. Interesting spelling of Andre. Andre's normally Andre. I'm named after, instead of Jesse James Bailey, the outlaw, I'm named after a black gospel singer, Andrae Crouch.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of naming me after an outlaw, my mom names me after a gospel singer.
Perfect.
But Andre is such just an odd name.
No, not really.
No, it's completely odd.
I kind of dig it.
No, it's so odd. Like,
because I'm always going, what's up, Dre?
That's
easy.
Well, Andrae Bailey flows, though.
Well, I was Dre.
Bailey flows.
I was Dre, Dre in high school. I was Dre Money. I had all the nicknames.
It's a great name.
But Jesse Bailey, you know, that's like a normal name. Andre, what is that? So, but I would say this later in life, with the advent of Google, I love the name.
Oh, of course.
Because Andrae Bailey. There's only one other Andrae Bailey in America, and he's like this 22-year-old black guy that plays basketball for some third Division III college.
Who's killing it? Yeah.
So me and him own Google.
That's good.
I mean, like Phillip Deems. There's a lot of Phillip Deems, probably, right?
There probably is, yeah. Deems not so much, but plenty of Phillips with 2 L's. Yeah.
And Angela Deems. There are a lot of Angelas out there.
Angela, yeah. There's a lot of Angelas. Come on.
Not hyphenated.
Okay.
Not as cool as Angela, though.
That's true.
Of course not.
So how did you land your wife? How'd that work? Where'd you guys meet?
We'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
Because it's
is that a different Crossroads?
That's a bar conversation.
Because it's personal. No, I'm kidding.
Is that
actually, we met in Jacksonville, and I accidentally hit on her. Yeah, it was
accidentally?
Cool. Yeah.
How do you accidentally hit on somebody?
So, you like Me Too'd her, and then like she was
I
like you're leaning over.
I could either sue you or marry you. Is that how it went?
No, totally opposite of that. So what happened was we were hanging out with friends that night, and we had mutual friends. And first off, let me backtrack. I saw a picture of her with the girl that I used to date.
Oh wow.
That's
horrible.
And the picture that I saw, I said, wow, she's smoking hot. And I got punched in the face, but that's okay. But then I said, this same individual said, hey, let's go out and meet. You know, we're going to go hang out. And we're all hanging out. And she hurt her ankle. She's a good friend of ours still, but that's okay. So she hurt her ankle, and she goes, hey, you got to go find Angela out in this crowd of people. She's here. So I'm looking over this sea of people, and I'm waving at her like a dork, right? And she's looking at me like, are you talking to me? Like, seriously, here we go again is probably what she's thinking. You know, some dude's hitting on me again. And I walk up to her and go, I'm not hitting on you. Your friend's over here. So ever since then, we've hung almost every day since then. We've hung out. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. We went dancing. I out-danced her, of course.
What kind of music was it?
I'm a fantastic dancer.
80s.
NSYNC, probably.
NSYNC?
Yeah, man. All day. It's
got to be 80s,
Backstreet
right?
Boys?
Yeah, Backstreet Boys, maybe. Yeah.
Tell us, was he a good dancer?
He's a great dancer.
Yeah.
Great dancer?
See, there you go.
Kind of R&B, kind of.
So it wasn't just in his head.
Can he pop and lock?
Totally. I'm a big fan of R&B.
Can he do the wave?
I dig R&B. I don't. Yeah, I can actually do the worm.
The worm.
Yeah, I can do the worm. Yeah, I can do that. It hurts now, though, man.
I found out on a cruise that he can do the worm.
Yeah, I found it on a cruise. She can do splits whenever she wants, man. She's crazy.
I mean, that's
not the way you're thinking, by the way.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
It's just implied.
I mean, the show's gone down a very interesting road.
We can't get out of this, by the way.
I like where this is going. Nope, there's no way out.
The ratings are
it's skyrocketing right now. So what happens is they're like, okay, someone's, you know, that game that you play in the middle of the ship where it's like, you got to do crazy stuff, right? Some kind of stupid adult game. And they're like, somebody's got to come down and do a split. And Angela just goes, boom, bang. She was a dancer. She used to be a ballerina.
True love.
Jazz and all that craziness.
Instantly.
Yeah. So,
20 years from now.
A Jaguar cheerleader. That's right. She was a Jaguar cheerleader too. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
20 years from now.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be?
Me?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, that's
good question.
A great question. So what I'm doing right now is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. I'll tell you that. Just build leaders, work on issues that matter, be a communicator. I love communication. I do a lot of public speaking and writing now that I've left the job I used to have a little over a year ago. I've got time to write, and I just want to inspire people, try to help train that next generation of leaders who are going to do something meaningful for the world and have a good time and have some fun doing it. So I think I'm going to be doing this at a whole another level, hopefully. And what I mean by that is rich and famous.
Attaboy.
More limos.
Yeah.
Limos.
Bigger house.
Limos
bigger
and homeless
TVs.
people. That's where I'm at.
100-inch curved screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think
140-inch curved television straight out of like Fahrenheit. What was that book? Fahrenheit 451?
451.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
It was a great
450,
book.
450.
If you've never read it, it explains the world today.
Totally. Well, 1984 kind of explains the world today.
True.
So,
very true.
Is what it is. But so I see that you are actually experimenting with podcasting now, live casting, things like that. How's that going? And tell us a little bit about where you want to go with that.
It's good. I think let me just say this. I'm experimenting with the idea that if you've got something to say, you got to figure out how to say it well and say it loud.
There you go.
Very good.
Like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there, does it make a sound? Hell F no, it doesn't. It does not. At least not in the way I look at life. It doesn't. If you've got something to say, especially if it has meaning to other people, you've got to become a student of how to say it on a massive scale.
Right.
So we're experimenting right now with what hopefully will be a combination of what you're doing here, a podcast, a live show on the internet, and then that dying, coughing dinosaur called
take it easy.
Television.
Take it easy.
Sorry.
Take it easy.
I don't know anyone in
kind of
television.
personal, man.
Yeah, sorry.
He's still working.
Yeah. I think television. There's a great opportunity
there
actually,
Yep.
because television has a special place in our hearts and in our psyche. But I think television is going two directions. It's going these incredibly well-produced, expensive. Ridley Scott does, a 30-minute show on NBC.
Totally.
It's going to that, or it's going to very inexpensive but creative, funny, inspirational content.
Yeah.
And so I think both of those can work.
Yeah.
So I feel like this change everything idea, I think it has interest to people, and I think people need it, and so we want to try to put out good messaging and some good guests. We're going to bring in some nationally recognized folks that can inspire folks, and
I really dig what you're doing, and one of the first times I watched, I was like, this is unique, and that's what I loved about it. You open up your stream, you start talking, but it has a focus. So there's a theme for the show. I really dig it. And then the instrumental portion of it is when the person that you're interviewing literally proves that theme up. So it's a really good idea. I can't wait to see where it goes, man.
Yes, it should be fun. But again, this idea that if you can content's king now.
Totally.
Content is king.
Yep.
If you can produce good content,
Yep.
We're connected. Like you said earlier, we're connected in ways we've never been connected before. But there's more out there to look at than we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
But most of it's shit,
Yeah,
and so
repeated over and over
it's
again.
garbage.
true,
Most
man.
of it's garbage, and it's
Yeah.
dribble, and it's nothing.
Meaningless.
So if you've got something that's quality, and quality is not eye of the beholder. Quality is what people want to
true.
consume.
It's watchable.
So it's watchable, and it can be watchable for a lot of reasons. There's
That's right.
There's comedy, there's art, there's inspiration, and so there's all kinds of quality content.
Yep.
So I'm big on the idea that I want to work with a lot of cool, smart people and produce good content. My content's probably a little 80% inspiration, 20% comedy.
Sure.
20% laughs.
Yeah.
But I want to produce content, produce it well, and experiment with and get better at putting it out there to the masses. And let's see if anyone wants to hear it.
Yeah.
And and as we move forward, Kevin and I work on films, and we're working on stuff that makes a difference as well. We're very proud of where we're headed. But as we move forward, one of the things that I like to tell people about that they continue to forget is, if the viewer doesn't find it watchable, why are you doing it? So one of the things that I always talk about is watchable is you can call it subjective all you want, but if they're not watching, they're not watching. So the bottom line is when we continue to move forward with content, we want to experiment well as we move forward as well, because what's happening is I watch kids sit on their couches right now with an 80-inch screen TV in front of them watching their little phone, right? So the delivery systems are not so much what we're worried about nowadays, and what crosses all these mediums is just good watchable content.
Yeah, right? and watchable, by the way, is again changing.
Yep.
So I'm going tomorrow I saw an advertisement in the Sentinel that Twitch users, Twitch is a new live broadcasting streaming
Becoming
service.
Big,
I think Amazon bought them, but the Twitch community of Orlando is meeting tomorrow at the bowling alley on 50.
Well, sweet.
And I'm going.
You should.
Well, because someone out there might go, why in the world would you want to go see a bunch of millennials or teenagers who are streaming on Twitch? Well, because some of these youngsters have more of a following than the Today Show.
All day.
They have more people watching their internet broadcast than some of the programming that costs millions of dollars that's on broadcast television and cable.
Right.
That's powerful. So I'm curious. I don't know a lot about Twitch. I honestly don't know a lot about YouTube and a lot of these mediums, these social media driven platforms that I'm now experimenting with. But I got to tell you, that's the future.
It is.
So if you say, back to your question, where are you going to be in 20 years? I'm going to walk down a road where I evolve and become good at what my intentions want me to be good at, or I'm going to be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And so I got to keep working on it every day.
The latter is not good.
One, I don't know if you guys saw this, but on Facebook today, I saw it. I don't know how long it's been out there. There's a new show, and it's called Your Last Days. I think it might be the title.
Yeah.
Is it a
It's
Facebook show?
It's literally people that are dying.
Yeah.
And what I find fascinating, because I haven't seen it yet, but I watched my mother and my father die. I've been through that whole road over the past 10 years of my life. And there's something about somebody who's in the last days that, just like when you said I had the stroke and there was this thing that happened to me, and I think there's something in that we need to see. Whether we like it or not, we need to see it, because these people are not crying. They're sitting there. Yeah. They're happy because they've figured out what I'm going to do, and I know it's coming, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And so it kind of brings me back to something you said, and I wonder if when we think in terms of how do we, you're doing this podcast, you're doing this incredible work with the collective and all of that. When do we figure out that this is absolutely the right path? We're doing this right now ourselves. We're trying to figure out where we're going. When do we figure out, because it's all an evolution. Would you agree? Everything kind of turns into the next thing.
Or do you ever figure it out?
Or do you ever figure it out?
I think you absolutely have these life epiphanies. It's funny, when it's not funny, but it's ironic that you bring up the passing of your parents. When I was in my early 20s and involved in religious activities, and I actually had a job as a pastor in a local big church. Imagine me as a pastor.
I cannot.
It's not good.
It's all good.
It was great.
I
I
cannot.
was fantastic.
You would be a good one, but
I was good. I had the hair that swooped over.
Did you?
It was fantastic.
Nice, dude.
You still do have the hair that swoops over.
Well,
It's pretty nice.
it's beautiful. But I'll tell you
The radio
this.
can't see that, but we can see it.
Oh, they
We'll
can.
post
right over there. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in slow motion my locks right now.
All day, baby.
Put it in front of
All
a
day.
fan.
You hear the
Let 'em slowly-
breeze in front of
If
you.
it wasn't for the headset, you'd be putting your hands to it right now.
So, Kevin, in that job of working in a church in my young 20s, there was like 4,000 or 5,000 people in this church, and I had no religious. It's a big church. I had no religious experience really at all. But as a young guy working in a church that size, one of your jobs was to go and visit people in the hospital, and you did weddings and you did funerals and did the two most important moments of your life. And I spent a lot of time around people in my early 20s because of that job, in hospitals with people at the end of their life. And it's funny, you talk about Crossroads, you guys were asking me this earlier. I'll give you a different answer, and maybe a more succinct answer and a more focused answer. That probably changed me more than anything, is seeing folks at the end of their life, who all of us are different, our entire lives, but at the end, when we're in that hospital and we only have a few days left to live, we're really all the same,
That's
man.
it.
Like, what matters at the end of your life, and watching people who were dying, it was all the same. It was, it was really two things. It was, how did I do in my relationships with the people that were closest to me, my kids, my spouse, my closest friends. I met a man who said to me, Andrae, I would give a multimillionaire, I would give everything I ever made in my life for one day with that daughter that I didn't spend time with.
Right.
So, that was profound to me, is seeing that impact. But in the second thing, relationships mattered to people in their last days. And the second thing that mattered was not what they had done for themselves, not their own success, not their own, piling on of cash and resources and fame, but what they had done for other people.
Right.
And what they felt like they left behind or would leave behind was the impact on others. And that was probably the biggest crossroads in my life. This idea that if you live your life through the lens of what you will feel and think on your last day. I used to think about that a lot. What will matter on my last day? What will matter at my funeral? Boy, those are kind of deep thoughts. You know that human beings are the only species on the planet that has the ability to be conscious of death.
Right.
And so, a dog walks by buried dogs and it doesn't think, or dead dogs, and it doesn't look at those dead dogs and go, one day
that'll be me.
That'll be me. Roof. It doesn't do that. But humans, we drive by a graveyard and we go, oh, wow,
Mortality.
I'm alive now, but one day I won't be alive.
Yep.
So that's actually what makes us different than any other species. And I would tell you that I think that kind of realization can be the crossroads for everyone. Just what will matter on your last day? What will matter? Like, envision yourself at your funeral today. You know,
what are people going to say?
What do people say?
Yeah.
What will your life mean in the end? Yeah. If we can remember that every now and then, I think that transformed me significantly.
That's great. You know, there's a
depressing shit, right?
No, it's actually really
no.
good.
It's actually the way we should all be
Andrae
thinking.
kills the podcast. With
going back to something you said earlier. I thought of a thing on Facebook that's a 1 minute documentary.
Yep.
And it was a documentary, and I don't know if you saw this or not, Andrae, but it's so touched me that it's never left me. There's a guy that goes around, and in 1 minute of this documentary, he goes around and just takes homeless people and just starts cutting their hair and shaving them and serving them in a way that's so beautiful. And being, you know, from a church, you understand what I mean by serving. In that short time, you feel a human who realizes they just need human. When you were talking earlier about stopping and just talking, I'm not going to give you money, but what's your name and tell me your story. Yeah. To me, that's a powerful thing. I think that when somebody does that, when they just, like you're talking about, if we just get people to connect, and that's what the beauty in what you do in your work, if we can just get people to connect and understand people on a human level, and not look down upon them, because I'm a spiritual person. I go to a church, and one of the things they said recently in church, and I'll never forget it. You know, you walk by and you give somebody $5. Do you see them as below you? And I remember thinking, I do. Yeah. I hate to say that. I hate to admit it, but you know what? I do. Yeah. I do that because I feel like I can do this for you, but it's making me feel good, and at the same time, it's an excuse to help somebody who doesn't have something. And it's not the right thing. I think when this guy goes and he cuts their hair and he shampoos them, and you see this beautiful transition and then their eyes light up, he's made a human change. He hasn't given them $5 that means nothing to them. Right. He's made them feel like a human being, and somebody saw them for the first time.
Yeah, right now we're working on a book, you're the first to hear about it, called The 7 Source Dilemmas to Solve You. And it's really about tracking back. We have all these problems in our society, and we have challenges in our own lives. But when you track so many of these problems back, you know, kind of like the 7 whys, you know, you find these source dilemmas inside of ourselves and inside of our country. It's another conversation we have here at Change Everything. But one of the source dilemmas that we found is just what you were just articulating, this idea that we see ourselves as individuals that have earned everything we have, and we've made ourselves these people who are happy and healthy, and you know, and by the way, there's some truth to that, you know. Sure. as a lifelong Republican with a master's degree in divinity, Trump, make America great again, we love it. Kanye, where you at? So, but as someone who obviously believes in personal responsibility, that's something I believe in. I believe that, you know, you need to help cultivate this idea in folks that need to work hard and make good decisions. I believe in that. But taken to another extreme, or taken to the other side, so we really have earned the right to sit in this room and be as successful and blessed and have the opportunity we have. So if you run that in a technical sense, so just the fact that you were born in 20th century America
is amazing.
I mean, you won the DNA lottery.
Totally.
Like think about every person that's ever lived. I think 60 billion people have lived on the earth since the dawn of time. Right. And somehow you wound up living in the 10% of that is the 21st century, technology, health, medicine. And oh, by the way, you live in the 1% of that, which is America. So
we're white.
Yeah.
Hey, good point.
I mean,
good
in all
point.
fairness,
it's true, bro.
And you come from a place where, you know, you didn't have the challenges other people had. So I just say all that not to be philosophical, but to be practical. When we walk by someone and we're like, oh, look at that poor person, they're so dirty and bad, and look at me, I'm great. And you have this equation the math equation that you run in your mind, where you did certain things that added up to where you are in your life, and good things, and that person did bad things that added up to where I think there's something incredibly flawed about that that allows us to disconnect from our greater place in kind of the philosophical ecosystem, man to man. And at the end of the day, so much of what I have is based on things I didn't do, based on blessings that I couldn't have figured out. Even something as simple as your DNA makeup. I mean, you guys are very successful. You probably have IQs that are score higher on tests. You probably have skills that well, I'm just telling you, the idea that all men are created equal is total bullshit. Like we're not equal at all, and we're not born equal, and we don't start at equal points. So again, back to what you were saying, when you can look at all the great things you have in your life and not become like not have disdain for yourself, and then not also go to this really whacked out place where a lot of folks are going now, where the way to build others is to tear others down. This whole like identity politics and all of these conversations we have where white people are bad because they have privilege and rich people are bad because they have money, and we can tear everyone down. And by the way, if you build one group up and tear another down, then you have to tear that other one down next and build the other one back up. So I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is when we connect with that source dilemma in us, where we remember that we are fortunate, we are blessed, fortunate, we are a mathematical anomaly to have all that we have, and to be that moment. Think about the moment when you're standing in front of a person who's down and out, poor, homeless, and they're in their position, and here you are holding $5 in your position. The equation there, when you flip it and you realize you're only there because of the grace of God, luck, karma, whatever it is you believe, and that person's really only there probably because of a lot of circumstances that are beyond that person's control, then all of a sudden your place in that transaction changes.
And I want to leave it there, but I can say this: we're all about 1 or 2 paychecks away from that ourselves too.
Absolutely.
And I remind,
but for the grace of God go I. I mean, any of us could be in that situation.
And I remind myself of that continually. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to have everything I have, and I do.
Well, Angela's got all the money in your relationship,
she
right?
does, totally. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
I mean,
she makes a great living, man.
Now, which one
and
of
then
you
she gives me some of that?
Which one of you is a better drinker? Who's a better drinker?
Whoa, let's define better.
I'm gonna go with him.
Better is you can drink more without throwing up.
Totally me.
Okay, college style.
All me,
college
baby.
style.
Who is more fun when they drink? Angela. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about all that.
So one of my parents, my father, was Irish, blondish hair, blue eyes, and my mother is from Mexico. So I mean,
you can pound it.
You can throw it down. You can throw it down.
Oh my gosh! Like it's really
drink 20-year-olds under the table.
It's really uncanny. It's I have many skills. One of which is an incredible tolerance for hard liquor. So
I do too, sadly. I love my bourbon.
So
That's great.
You watch everyone pass out.
Yeah.
I do. I try not to drink as much anymore, not because of like the moral reason, but because drinking just makes you tired.
It wears you out. It wears you out.
Does that mean I'm getting old?
No, I quit 3 years ago.
Did you?
100%. And not for religious reasons either. I just found, I'm the type of person that finds at some point when I look at it, I go, what exactly happens here?
What am I going
for? I drink,
Yeah.
I feel good for a little while, then I get tired and I go to bed and I have a headache. And to me, what am I gaining in that? That's been my thing.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, but I hope to get there one day.
Yeah, Philip's an alcoholic. It's cool.
I'm a total alcoholic.
Because Kevin,
that is why we're here.
Well, listen, at some
this is an intervention.
Philip,
Thanks.
you didn't know, but I think today's going to be your crossroad.
I'm here, and I will accept that.
Hey, I got a question for you. What do you want to leave this show saying? What would you like to say?
For someone out there listening, I would just say, take a moment, take time to really find who you are and what's important to you, and go on an internal journey. So much of life in our culture, we spend so much time telling people to focus on external things. What's your job going to be? How much money are you going to make? Who's the person you're going to be with? It's all external. And we never really push ourselves to look internal and have that internal journey towards who am I? What do I believe? What's important to me? What are my values? And I think religion can do that for people. I think religion has done a shitty job of that, though, in this country. That's a whole other podcast. But I think,
whole nother day.
Well, I just think, we used to say this, that God made man in his image, and then man always returns the favor, which means that the God, whatever your religion is, the God of American culture, is somehow this God that wants all of us to just be rich and completely successful and very narcissistic. Jesus is a narcissist. Like all he really wants is, like, he's a megalomaniac that just wants me. He's like Trump and and his two kids. My kids can do no wrong. Yeah. So I just would tell you,
this coming
I'm
from
joking. All Trump fans out there, I love Trump. I love him. He's great. But I just would say this, though, that everything in our culture, including I think religion at times, pushes us to focus on external things. But for me, and I do that all the time, I do it so many hours a day, but when I find that compass and it points back inward and says, hey, Andrae, who are you as a person? How are you doing in your key relationships? What will your life look like in the end? What will matter on your last day? I would say to people out there, go on that journey, consume materials, consume books, consume podcasts. If faith is something important to you, look towards that, but find a way to really anchor your life in what matters internally before you go out and try to conquer all the external. The external will be there, and you'll only be satisfied if you first conquer what's right inside you. So that's the advice I'd give people.
Great way to end the show, man.
Good way to wrap it up.
And Andrae Bailey, we're so lucky to have you here today.
Yes.
Thank you
for being
Appreciate
here. Really
the time.
do.
I want to come back and have a nonsensical podcast with you one day.
That wouldn't be hard to do.
Let's do a drinking contest. Let's do mezcal. Have you guys had mezcal yet?
No.
What
You'll
is
have to show me that.
Mezcal's like the new cool.
Yeah.
No, if you go and say to someone, mezcal's tequila, they'll be like, no, it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
So mezcal's like a form of tequila, and it's fantastic. So
Okay.
we'll have a mezcal drinking contest. And
Kevin will stay away from
I'll
that.
be the one to judge it.
But he can be the judge. Yeah.
What I think I want to do is a Trump debate with mezcal and bourbon.
Done.
And you have to keep drinking and
Yeah.
every time you get it wrong.
Yep. And then you have to pass around and Make America Great Again hat.
I'd like to put a bid in right now that you're going to be standing at the end and you're going to be down with your face down.
I don't know about that. I'm pretty
Really?
good. I'm pretty good.
And in some way there'll be a contest, a Trump trivia contest that Angela will put together. And if you get a question wrong, you have to wear the Make America Great hat and post photos of yourself.
Kevin will love
with
that.
the hat on while taking shots.
So for all of our listeners, that one's coming.
Yes.
Thanks, Andrae.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks
guys.
again, man.
See you,
Great
bud.
time. Hey, listen, if you are out there or you know of somebody out there that has a great story to tell, please.
Yeah, you need to send them our way. We really enjoy, and that's what this show is about:
Absolutely.
is interviewing people who are actually making a difference.
And there's stories that we probably don't even know, so we want
Agreed.
your stories.
Yeah, we need to hear from you. You can hit us up at ptmcrossroad@gmail.com.
Join us next week on Plot Twist Media's
Crossroad.